All information in this video is alleged until proven otherwise. So, welcome back to Situation-ish, where we explore the situations in which men and women find themselves in and the unfortunate outcomes that we cover on this channel. So today I'm going to walk you back through the Ashly Jenae Joe McCann case and provide you with an update on what's happening, because it appears that we are forgetting Ashly Jenae's name, and I will not allow that. So as usual, the situation is going to be explored through my own lens, my thoughts, my suppositions. And as usual, everything here is alleged until proven otherwise. So let's put on back that detective hat and get that magnifying glass. Let's do this. So to give you a background of the case, for those who are not aware, unless you're living somewhere in a cave where there's no internet, then here is a background of the incident that we are exploring today. So in April of 2026, Joe McCann, who is this crypto hedge fund person, a financier, as some like to term him, he took his then fiancée, Ashly Jenae Robinson, to Tanzania on a birthday trip. But unfortunately for Ashly and her family, she came back to the US in a coffin. And many of us were covering the case, and I'm continuing to do so because I've noticed that a lot of voices have been humbled or silenced, and it's that exact scenario, that exact issue that we're going to cover today. So to give you a background, just in case you are not aware of the case, just in case you've been living in a cave or just off the grid, which I often don't blame people at times, but just in case you have been off the grid, this is an incident that occurred, as mentioned, in Tanzania, and Ashly turned up dead on April 10th, because apparently on April 9th, she was found unresponsive in her hotel and later died. Actually, she died that same day. So it was noted by hotel staff that the couple were involved in a dispute that was really, it was one of those disputes that was significant enough to warrant them separating them. Although you would learn later that Joe said he was the one that asked. He presented evidence that he was the one that asked for the separation. But today, when I went online to check on what's happening with the case, and I've been noticing the silence among the fellow YouTubers on here. Everybody is mum now. They're quiet. I don't know whether they were doing it for views or they really wanted to see justice for Ashly. But we should never ever forget her name. And despite the fact it breaks my heart that her family still miss this, and I'm so sorry if you're seeing this and I'm bringing up old issues that you wish to probably remain buried. I really apologize. But this case really, really touched me deeply because it could have been me. It could have been a niece. And I feel I somehow have this affinity with Ashly. And it's not just because she's from the Caribbean or her background is, or that she's a black woman, but it's that I could see her vulnerability, I could see her naivete, and I could see how easily she was one of those that believe in this rose-colored glass of that romantic life. She romanticized her life, even to the way she presented herself online, that soft life. And while she was working independently hard for that, I could also see how she could be entrapped. This is not to state that she was entrapped by Joe or anybody else. She was living her life as she sees fit. But the fact that today so many are silent, they are so silent now that it's grating on my nerves. So, of course, as we know, the Tanzania government exonerated Joe, or they cleared him of any wrongdoing. And Joe is now not only sharing what he cannot tell you, but he's actually telling you what he cannot tell you. So he has gone on to the internet through TMZ, outlining and highlighting Ashly's supposed mental illness. And I'm going to say suppose because we haven't really seen any psychological evaluation or any psychiatrist certificate declaring that she was actually mentally unstable. Many people are mentally unstable, but it doesn't mean that they are mentally unfit or unhealthy. There's a difference. And as I've said in one of my videos, when you're triggered, often people like to tell the world that she's crazy. This is how she's behaving. So what did he do? Ashly's loving husband-to-be, he put her business out there. He showed her instability when she was on the highway and when she was throwing stuff in the yard of their home. No woman has ever done that in their lives. Nah, it's just Ashly. So, because everybody, they were questioning this man, looking at him under the microscope, not taking his word for everything, he's getting upset. He was upset. So he's coming out with full blast. He wants to defend himself. So he's fighting back against the false death allegations against him. He has even threatened legal action against this person, Lisa Durden, to the point that she has submitted an apology online. And let's read what she has to say. So, according to Lisa Durden, recently, and this is quote, "I made numerous false statements about Joe McCann and his relationship with Ashley Robinson, aka Ashly Jenae. Among my numerous false statements, I falsely asserted that Joe abused and then murdered Ashly. In truth, Ashly tragically took her own life after a lifelong struggle with her mental health. Also, in truth, Joe did not abuse Ashly, as the Zanzibar police force concluded without any doubt and based on incontrovertible evidence. Ashly indeed hung herself while alone in a locked villa at the Zuri Zanzibar resort on April 8th, 2026. I fully accept this undeniable conclusion. I regret my false statements and now offer my complete and unequivocal retraction of my false statements about Joe. While I had no ill will towards Joe, I've learned a great deal from this experience and appreciate Joe's magnanimous willingness to turn the page. Accordingly, in the spirit of honoring Ashly's memory, I am pleased to announce that I will be donating $5,000 to Joe's charitable foundation created to honor Ashly's legacy and prevent others from engaging in self-harm. I strongly support Joe's mission and congratulate him on this purpose. Guys, so let's interrogate this a bit. And I want to be fair to Joe. So, yes, if I am cleared by a government in a third world country where they are easily influenced by the US coins, the US currency, where it is a country that don't really like allegedly the US at the moment because of all the immigration policies that they are putting into effect. And right now I have a hedge fund person in the crypto line of work that is in my country, and at the moment my country is actually engaged in a huge multi-billion-dollar project that involves outside external investors. So they are being encouraged to come into the country, and this is an expert in my country right now, and we want to build this crypto platform, this crypto centered business that would attract and that would benefit Tanzania for the future. This as a third world country, and the government in that country, of course I do not want any negative publicity, and of course I'm gonna examine all the nuances, everything surrounding the death at the villa, the people in Villa 24 next to Villa 25 where Ashly was found, even the staff. I'm gonna interrogate them, or I'm gonna do whatever it takes to ensure that justice is served and that this woman who is there with a person that has more clout than her, I'm going to ensure that he is exonerated, right? He's cleared of all false claims or allegations. And given the fact that he's a regular there, he's a regular tourist, he brings in resources, even invites his friends there. he contributes as well to the livelihood of the woman. That he gives good tips, right? He's well loved on the resort. So we're going to ensure that this man gets justice. And Joe got justice. And I'm happy for him that he's cleared. But one thing that Joe has to realize, that even if you're cleared in the justice system in Tanzania, it doesn't mean that you are cleared in the eyes of the public, because there would always be questions around your existence. And even if you're dating somebody, there would always be the headlines that's associated with you, and you would never ever be trusted in the eyes of many women, perhaps desperate women. Yes, because there are always those. There are always the pick-me's. There are always the men-centered woman that would often want to see the dollar sign and head towards you. And there would always be those who are willing to scrape at the bottom of the barrel. Not that you are at the bottom of the barrel. I'm just saying, to find what they could find to survive. And I am not saying that you are the one that pulled the rope physically, but perhaps mentally. Joe, did you pull that rope on Ashly? Did you push her to the point? Did you emotionally abuse her? Abuse comes in so many ways. And for someone of your big age, with someone that you allege is so fragile, mentally fragile, you at your big age, you said you have seen her done, quote unquote, my air quotes are going here, but you can't see them. You have seen her done crazy things, right? But yet, you are fighting, you are battling with her back and forth to the point that it sounded so terrible that others have to report you. And you yourself had to leave. You said you asked them to leave. What kind of level of maturity is that? Your character in itself, if you're going head to head with this woman, knowing her fragile state, what does that say of your character? What does that say of your emotional integrity, of your ability to make this person feel emotionally and physically safe with you? Sometimes you don't have to physically pull a trigger or pull the rope, but the things you do could make somebody do, as you say, crazy things. And this, let's go back to this apology that you demanded from this person. I believe this was definitely forced. This is not an apology that was done willingly and of this person's own volition. This is very much forced. And yes, I recognize the fact that there is a threat of legal action. And yes, this person may have gone too far in her statement based on the fact that she said you are fully responsible for Ashly's death. She should not have gone that far to say that. But that is not to state that this was not forced. And it looks like this person may have been given the money, perhaps by you or somebody in your camp, to say that she's donating it. Regardless, this is an apology that is forced. Okay, regardless of whether or not it's forced, it felt forced. Because here is the person also, she is essentially sucking up to you, even if she's retracting her statement. And by all means, we should all retract any statement that we find that we have said prematurely. But our belief system, what we believe, what we allegedly state, what are our thoughts and suppositions, we should not in any way retract those, because they are alleged and they are our thoughts, they are our theories about what happened. You do not come at anybody in any way if they are stating their thoughts, their theories and suppositions. But as she said, she falsely asserted that you abused and murdered Ashly. Then if she did, then she is wrong. And I have not seen any of her other postings besides this, so I cannot speak to them. But if she says that and she's apologizing for that, then kudos to her for doing so. But at the same time, there are the wording in this apology, some of it sounds like it's something that a friend or somebody in your camp have her state. This is very much ChatGPT, and it was given to her from your camp. That's what I'm alleging. Because if there's somebody stating words to the effect that I've learned a great deal from this experience and appreciate Joe's magnanimous willingness to turn the page. I understand that Joe may be willing to turn the page, but that is unfair to the people who were affected by Ashly's untimely demise. And while you may be cleared by the Tanzanian government, there are still so many unanswered questions that so many people have. And Joe would remain under scrutiny for the rest of his life, regardless of however he's trying to fight back. And I understand the willingness to fight back, because I am a fighter myself. I stand for justice. I stand up for my right, and I would fight tooth and nail for my own right and my reputation. And while I'm not here to be Joe's judge, jury, and executioner, I'm also here to ensure that if in no way, shape, or form Joe didn't push Ashly emotionally, I understand. But for me, it doesn't appear that way. And in her statement again, she's stating that she fully accepts this undeniable conclusion. That is somebody that I feel that while I respect what detectives, police, the law people state, I am also open to the fact that people could have limited resources at their disposal. They could have limited resources at hospitals where they don't get the right expertise to do certain things. And I am from a third world country, and while I love my people, I know their intelligence, I know how well they could take their time and do things, but I also know the effect, the impact of money. I also know the influence of what people in power could do, because I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. The impact of what money could influence people in other countries. And as I've said before, the US dollar, it goes a long way in many countries. And Tanzania, don't come at me. I'm not saying that any of you were bribed. I'm not saying that any of you turn a blind eye. But these are my theories. These are my thoughts. And I am allowed to have them. I accept the fact that she has learned from this experience that she would not be so open on the internet or on any of our platform to falsely assert anything about anybody. That's not what we are here for. But we need to often look beyond the surface of incidents like these that cause a healthy, otherwise woman to go over there and allegedly self-harm. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. She was too much in her life. Caribbean people, they love their lives. I'm not saying that other people don't. I'm just saying we have a zest for life in the Caribbean. We do. And in the Caribbean, we have gone through so many hardships. We look forward to so many pivotal moments in our lives. We look forward to special holidays. Even Joe himself mentioned how much Ashly looked forward to holidays like Christmas, New Year's. We love life. And while some may say I'm deluding myself, because I realized that there was a comment that came at me, and the commenter was like, oh, you're so... I don't care what that commenter has to say. These are my theories. They are my thoughts. And while I am respecting Lisa Durden's desire to apologize, it could also be the fact that this is not a true apology that was done of her own volition and from the goodness of her heart. Because I find that she's trying in the process to hype up Joe too much, whom I think should still be very much under scrutiny within the US environment, because I have not heard the US government say anything with respect to this case. I have not heard them clear him yet. Perhaps when they do, I'll come to terms with it. But in the meantime, I still would like to see some more accountability and US justice for Ashly Jenae. In the meantime, Joe, I wish anybody who is gonna start dating you, because the internet headlines do not go away. And for people like Trent Out Loud, I find that you're very quiet. And while you may be quiet for some reason, I do realize that right now, maybe Ashly's name isn't giving you the views that you're looking for based on what I'm seeing. So you have moved on. I hope you haven't. This is in no way, shape, or form negating the fact that you did an amazing job to bring Ashly's story to the fore. But why are you so silent now? Is it because TMZ gave you a spotlight some time ago? Is it that? Are you that easily influenced? I hope not. So guys, I'm gonna keep on at this. I'm gonna hope for a US accountability, a US justice for Ashly, because obviously there are still so many more questions that are unanswered. It would be great to see Ashly's phone and to know that it wasn't tampered with. It would be great to hear from the witnesses that were in room 24. And it would be great to hear from the actual doctors that saw Ashly, that did the autopsy. It would be awesome to hear from the hotel owner, the villa owner, Zanzibar owner, and the workers that were actually there. Then I would be able to sleep better at night. And only then would Ashly rest in peace. So, here is to a United States justice for Ashly Jenae and her family. Justice for Ashly Jenae.